Okie dokie then. Let's see. Devlin, hello. Sure, who's hang on, top chat. Let me do live chat. All messages visible, because that's how it needs to work. Hey, Devlin. Just the mic a little bit. Well, Susie, hi. Take a minute. Make sure that not slip. Hello all. Mike is here. I think everybody can see me pretty well. Doop, doop, doop. And there's Thomas. All right. Hey, Susie. Let's do this. Hey folks, how are all of you? Said Susie's here, Mike, Kel Switch. Yeah, wow, hasn't it? I don't, feel, want to feel selfish about things, but I'm just sort of like, wow, I picked a really fraught day yesterday to upload a video, didn't I? But, yeah, we need a little bit of a respite from some of the pain that's out there, don't we? Hopefully we can find that together. How is everybody doing? See, Karen has made it. Aura, Arfem, how you doing? You did. You're on time, so yeah. Anyway, speaking of the video, I'm very glad that's finally up, and going to be working this weekend on the horror and fantasy episodes. And, wow, yeah, hopefully, man, I need to get my hair cut. That's going to have to happen next week. Alrighty then. Yeah, so it's good to be with everybody. It's good to see all of you once again. Let me just make sure, yeah, computer's framing's fine. Lisa, everyone else, okay. Well, I'm going to try to finish, here, I'm going to try to finish up Ringworld either tonight or tomorrow. Take a massive chunk out of it. Thank you, Lisa, very much. Devlin is reading There's No Anti-Memetics Division. Yeah. Finally had an opportunity to see the differences between the original release of that and, the one that's out now commercially. And there are some significant ones, but I do think it's, they're probably made for good reasons. And I think that the commercial version reads a little bit more smoothly, and it's neat stuff. So I'll be reviewing that soonish. Otherwise, Susie is finally reading The Crippled God, made all the way through Malazan. Well done. Not slip reading Leviathan Wakes. Maddie Groves just finished Marrow by Robert Reed, another big dumb object book. Yes, I think Robert Reed is very much, an underread, underappreciated author. And very much a proponent of the kind of science fiction I was talking about in my video, where, I just say, man, I wish there was more of this kind of stuff, just because that's what I'm, that makes me nostalgic for my youth and, the kind of science fiction that hooked me into the genre. So, but the crazy thing about Robert Reed, though, is that he has always been an insanely prolific short fiction writer. Like, to the point where I think almost every issue of Fantasy and Science Fiction magazine would have a story of his in it. Like every one, just about. And even then, like, he would have stories in the print mags, like the other ones, like Analog and Asimov's. But you don't see him in any of the, the online mags very much, because I think of his particular style of science fiction isn't what magazines like Uncanny are looking for. But, yeah. Anyway, REFM says place the 6th Nick on your list just because of my experience. Oh, and that was very like edited to just, that was very truncated description of the plot. You should try to read the whole thing. Like I said, it is wildly unhinged, but I think it's going to be interesting for all of that. Aura is reading an old classic, The Saliva Tree by Brian Aldiss. And RFM's also reading Leviathan Wakes. And cool. Oh, wow. So you guys are always have fantastic reading choices, and I'm always excited to see what you guys are checking out. So, not so. I'm just kind of following along with you guys right here. Cue ball. Yeah, God, I love you guys. It's so. Yeah, so that video was fun to do, but even then, with as many books as were on it, there were two big omissions that I'm already embarrassed by. I don't know how I did this, but I somehow forgot Radiant Star by Ann Leckie, and I forgot Monsters of Ohio by John Scalzi, which is way up forward into like next November, or this November, I guess we're now, because we're in the new year. Duh. So there were some omissions there. So I'm going to try to be a little bit more diligent. I'm going to double and triple check my list before I finish recording and editing the next two. But I'm going to be working on those this weekend. So horror and fantasy back to back. I'm going to try to get at least one of those up for Monday, because Monday I have to go out of town. I am now at my phase of life where I have to, where I want to start doing, or I need to start doing, like all my old man medical stuff. Preparatory things, or what's the word? Preparedness. That's all he always says. And so I'm getting a full body MRI, which should be interesting. I hope they don't, obviously discover any ticking time bombs inside of me, but then that's the whole point, if I want to, I remember when I was observing my parents aging and thinking to myself, you don't take care of certain things in your youth, then your elder years can become just an endless string of doctor's visits and, those daily pill counters with, 10 pills in each one. It's like eating, the equivalent of a bag of Skittles every day in pills, right? And just some of the various things that have to get dealt with later because you put it off, right? And so I don't want to have that experience. So we're going to see what I'm like on the inside. I'm not unplugged, but anyway. Preventative, yes, thank you, not slip. So anyway, so let me get back to some of these comments, because it's also, you guys are still talking about books, and it's great. Metagrow, I was curious about the Iron Garden Sutra. It might not be for me, true, yeah. A lot of the books on that list probably won't end up being for me either, but, I always want to try to be open-minded and give as much stuff a chance as I can. After the Fall, yeah. And yes, it's a new Ann Leckie, Susie. It's in the Imperial Ratch universe, but it's a standalone, like Provenance was. So let's see. Oh yeah, World's Edge. Seems like again going to be more character driven, and it could very well be more like about incidents and people rather than like a strict through line on the plot. But like I said, could be interesting. Valor by John Gwynn, and he has a book coming out this year that will be on my fantasy list. RFM is reading Vagabonds. Or didn't you start that last week, or am I mistaken? And Lois Bujold has another. Oh, that's exciting. Actually, I did not know about that, Maddie. So there we go. I probably because. Let me see. I think Lois does those books first now through Subterranean, and then they get more of a commercial release, like through Bane Books or something. Because I didn't get the first. They're like 6 Penrick novellas make the first set, I think. Anyway, when Bane Books finally those came out as individual novellas from Subterranean, I think. And then Bane Books started collecting them where it was like 3 novellas per book. And so I didn't get into those until those editions came out. And I could just get them commercially. So I have those, but yeah. But yeah, good. I mean, she's still trucking along with that. Doesn't surprise me. Those are popular. She's popular. But, yeah. Thank you, Devlin. I hope so too. It'll be very interesting. Just kind of, I don't know how long it's going to be. How long I have to like sit in that 2001: A Space Odyssey centrifuge thing. It'll be fascinating. Devil's already pre-ordered the new Murderbot. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Maddie. Yeah, the collector sets through Subterranean come first. Is there a novel that's anti-Dark Forest theory? My Brother's Keeper by Tim Powers. Oh, The Curse of Chalian. Now there is an unsung masterpiece. I'll tell you right now. I think, yeah, I think that came out at a time where I think it is every bit as important a book as... It's easy to forget this because of the passage of time, and then we've had the series, and then it's been a whole pop culture thing. But in the 90s, the mid to late 90s, when those first 3 Song of Ice and Fire books came out, they really were like, they were earth-shaking, right? I mean, very much groundbreaking fantasy, because went against the mold and the mainstream. After time, what George was doing back then has now become the mainstream, right? But back then, it very much was not. And but I think that The Curse of Chalian is as important to the leveling up of epic fantasy in a literary sense as any of those first 3 Song of Ice and Fire books. Very important. And what's interesting about it is, and those of you who are Bujold fans will know that, she has a particular voice. She's very accessible. Her Miles Vorkosingham books, almost very chatty, right? I mean, they're fun reads, super accessible. And when you read The Curse of Chalian, you're like, this is a very different Lois McMaster Bujold writing this. I mean, I don't want to say that her style is more mannered, but you do kind of feel like, all right, this is one to like. Have slightly more elevated expectations of. So it reads differently than any of her other books, I think. When you get to the sequel, like Paladin of Souls and The Hallowed Hunt, you start seeing more of like the familiar Lois Bujold writing style. Not that the books are any less. I think Paladin of Souls is again another great fantasy. So yes, if you have not read Curse of Chalian, I highly recommend it, and it has a something that you almost never see in epic fantasy, which is a quietly moving ending. It ends on this really beautiful grace note that you don't see that. And because it's so quiet, it's very impactful. So, anyway, that's my brief review, live on camera. Okay, before I, stop yammering, yeah, Bujold, absolute master of the craft. You are correct, sir. Let's see, doop. Time for the Fermi paradox. Yeah. Which has a favorite, yeah. I will always have a very, very soft spot for Barriar in particular. That's terrific. Yeah, so. Okay, so maybe not, so just see, we're all kind of fangirling over Lois, but let's see what else. Yeah, the Dark Force, you think about the Dark Force theory in it, it is a very, almost like it's kind of a scary thing to contemplate, right? But yeah, I feel like, the Fermi paradox takes, in its own way, it's a different kind of pessimistic view of life in the universe, but the Dark Forest is like scary. It's like, well, kind of creepy. But, All right, okay, so that's enough yammering for Thomas. But I'm just been 15 minutes. We're just chit chatting. But I'm going to go ahead and start the timer. I'm just happy to be back with you guys. Oh, hello. Perfect. So 45 minutes and counting. Check the stream health. Good group of people here today. Very happy to have you. If you're new to the stream, because of, you know, you caught the 2026 anticipated video. If you've never been to the stream before, welcome. Just grab your book and curl up with us while we read to the sound of trains. Yeah, not slip. I think it's kind of like that. You're welcome, Maddie. You're welcome. I'm going to give myself a little more light here. Oh, Killswitch has a new train fact. I mean, you know, that's awesome. So, yeah, that makes me want to travel to see the Dragonstone. Yeah, I would like to see the Alps. That's a bucket list thing for me. Hello, George. How are you? Good to have you. And as always, thank you for the generosity. How has your week been, sir? Barnacle on the whale of life. Well, at least you get around. Oh, you're right. Yeah, his I mentioned that in my original review, and I don't really see that I'm going to edit it, but I wouldn't edit that out if when I revise the review. But yeah, he was plagued by letters from fans who were like, MIT students. Like, oh, see, the Ringworld would be unstable if it didn't have attitude jets and this, that, and the other. So he was eventually, like after 10 years, just badgered into writing a sequel to explain, some more of the technical aspects of his creation, which turned out, I think, to be a good thing because, one of the frustrating things about, this book right here is that you never really get that. You sort of come away from it, it's like, well, the Ringworld's still a big mystery. And you get a little bit more grounding in the second book, so. See, back then you could badger your favorite science fiction writers, and you did not even need Reddit to do it. So. Yeah. Sometimes you're Maddie. That's true. Um, Fans of hard science fiction, though, tend to be very technically minded, and they're like, "No, but yeah, but see, if you did that, then then it wouldn't work." That kind of, so. Um, but you're right. Oftentimes, I think cosmic mysteries can remain cosmic mysteries, which is what I love about books like Ship of Fools, right? Um, you never, well, you do get an explanation for the derelict ship in that novel, but it's kind of oblique. Like it's not, you don't really get the explanation, but you come to an understanding of what it really is and what it's meant to represent. And when you hit that understanding, suddenly it's you know quite shocking and terrifying. So, you know, but mostly it does remain quite mysterious. In that, when you can keep the mystique, then there you go. That's often. This is not a very comfortable looking reading pose, I know. Sometimes I just don't notice. My body often shifts a lot when I read, and then so I could just be in some wildly uncomfortable position like a cat, and then not realize that I've been sitting like that for 25 minutes or something. I don't know. Hello, candles. Are you already getting blown out? Deal with that at the intermission. Or not. Slight breeze picking up, so that's good. Angela, hi. Good to have you. Let's see, the temperature's gone down about 5 degrees or something, which is good because it was warm and muggy and very not January-like all day and just gross. So it's a little better now, thank goodness. How are we doing on time? So okay. Yeah. You would think it would be just like deeply freezing right now. Mm. Kitchen Witch, hey! Very good. Glad you made it. Reading The Shattering Peace. Let's see, hang on. Okay, 42 Fahrenheit. Snow is predicted at 7 a.m. You know, back in 2024 for the Worldcon week, and after the convention, you know, a bunch of us went up to Dunvegan, and just every night it was wind lashing and rain and just the trees doing this. And I wonder what that weather's like right now. Okay, everybody, that is first session. 45 minutes down. So, yeah. See you back in 5. Hey again, everyone. So, this evening has just been quiet and peaceful, and it's going by kind of quickly, but that's all right. Yeah, you say it's a nice break from the world, isn't it? So we are back, and yeah, my hair starts flopping like this. Holly likes it, but I don't know. I think I look like some kind of. I look like almost homeless if I don't keep at least some sort of semblance of grooming. But we're good. All right. So we're going to start back up. Reset and 45. Take a quick look at what the... Because today there was meant to be rain, and there was only like a little bit. Oh, okay. Supposed to have thunder and lightning this weekend. And it is going to drop the temperatures quite a bit. So, okay then. So it's going to get a bit colder where I am over the next few days. So again, if you're here, you're new, and you're just joining the stream, let us all know what you're reading in the comments, and thanks for joining in to the Hangout. Okay, see, now this is bonkers. I literally just relit 2 or 3 of these, and we had a... what can you do? Oh well. Yeah, the chat gets archived after the stream is over, just like the stream does. So your train facts are still available, I'm sure, for weeks and weeks past. Ah. George, that's perfectly fine. Oh, Fiction Factory. Now, I need to pull up that meme. That's a name I have not heard in a long, long time. Wow. Especially Clan Zymox and me and all my goth buddies. Yeah, we knew them quite well, but Fiction Factory. Boy. That's a deep cut right there. You know, there's one 80s band that... Here I go. He's got me started, you guys. From a... I think I did. You'll need to refresh my memory as to which one it was, George. There's one 80s band. I just started listening to, you know, their one album, which was the biggest one at the time, and I remember saying to myself, how did I never hear this back then, ever at any point? How am I only just now discovering it? But the name of the band is Propaganda. And the album is... Hang on. I'll tell you right now. Just get up my phone. Yeah, this is the library. Artists. P. Wait, doof. Yeah, it was... Yeah, there we go. Yeah, A Secret Wish. Yeah, I band Propaganda. And that's from like 89. No, 85. Just kind of, I'll try to hold that still. And it's like, how did I never hear this back when I was in like high school and college? Nothing but bangers. And I just, and that's why I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I would have thought this would be everywhere. It probably was. It probably was in club scenes that I was not getting to. Because I was 20 and living in Houston, right? But I bet if I were in, like, you know, London or someplace at, like, the really awesome clubs. But, but that was definitely a worthy discovery. And so, I feel like better late than never on some discoveries, you know? I'm making sure my own library is updated. Music library. My music library. Yeah. That's true. Nostalgia waves do tend to follow the pattern of people getting into their 40s and suddenly, it's like, uh-oh, right, and you get that kind of, you start having your first little midlifing episodes, and that causes you to, crave the life of your 20s and the things you remember from that time. And so there would be like the music and the TV shows and the movies and games and what have you. So yeah, that the 20 years nostalgia cycle is very much a real thing. Yeah. Um, I'm nostalgic for quite a bit from the 90s. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kel switch. Very true. Okay, so there's a decent number of us Xers in this little group. Oh, guys, we're all going to get melancholy now for the things we miss. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, hard to be sneaky. Who remembers those very first little handheld electronic games? There was football, and then there was basketball, and probably some others, but, you know, the bleep bleep, those, they were Mattel, I'm pretty sure. God, I remember junior high school. Those were like the thing to have. You know, they were just something else. Until you memorized the pattern, because they were just little LED lights. And they were, you know, and the LED lights representing like the other team. Once you figured out, okay, the pattern, because it was this sort of repeatable thing, you could just, on the football game, you could just score touchdown after touchdown after touchdown, because you would know exactly where to go, right? But those were still amazing. Yeah, there's a racing one. I don't know if Coleco. I think that's Coleco made the football and the basketball ones. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're around. I'm sure they're being sold on eBay for small fortunes, but yeah. Yeah, that was that very, very first surge of electronic games. Yeah. I never had Simon, but I know several of my friends had him. Yeah. Oh, Polly Hawkins are selling for $100. Holy mackerel. Oh. Well, Angela, you know, I guess if you ever needed a little cash on hand, at least you have those, but hopefully not. Yeah. I do remember the first Atari home game with the cartridges. Although I personally did not own a gaming console until the Nintendo 64. Excuse me. I never had, like, you know, the Super Nintendo system or anything like that. I didn't. The original Pong game. Yeah. You know, it's funny to think back, right? But Pong was kind of... I remember when my first encounter with Pong, I was actually living overseas. We were living in Singapore in the early 1970s. And there is it's still there. It's crazy expensive now. It probably always was. But there is a club, so to speak. There's a club there for the American citizens called the American Club. And, I mean, I don't know if you have to be an American citizen to be part of it, but I think that's the general idea. And it was just for that kind of community and what have you. And so, yeah, we'd all kind of go there and, you know, just hang out and do stuff. But in their little, there's a game room off by the swimming pool. I remember that. And they had like foosball and what have you. But I remember when that game room got the very first Pong table. And imagine this little cluster of kids just standing around this thing like it's the monolith from 2001, right? Like this is the most incredible thing that's descended from the skies. It's just, and of course, it's just that black and white screen, right? With boop, 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 boop. But we were transfixed, right? Never seen anything like it. And so there was a huge line of, kids wanting to play this thing. I remember that. That was the first encounter with Pong. And I'd never seen anything just more mind-blowing in my life. I thought, this is the future right here. So, come a long way. But yeah, that was, that's a core memory, you might say. See, friends had Ataris. I remember when the coin-op games started to become more popular. And the one I enjoyed was, and of course these are I don't even think they were 8-bit, but you had these little pixelated cowboys on either side of the screen, and you just shoot at each other. I remember that game. I don't remember what it was called, but it was just, you played with a friend, and you would just try to quick draw on each other, and you could move up and down your little man, which was just this sort of very, very, I don't even think it was low res enough to be called low res, right? It was just, but he would sort of, you'd pixelate up and down the screen and fire your little guns at each other, and the bullets moved like this. So that's a game I remember from the very, very earliest coin-op games. Yeah. Let me turn on the first time. Well, that is true, Angela. I don't know. I don't know if I would have objected if the Pong game had somehow uplifted me, increased my intelligence, made me fly to Jupiter. Let me think, though. What else from back then? Because a lot of you guys are bringing some things back. When we came back to the States, and so now we're getting into early 80s. But my favorite coin-op game became Tempest. That's the one that just knocked me out. Because you really had to be fast on your reflexes with Tempest. That was one that I thought was really incredible. And, of course, everybody and their dog back then was playing Defender, but I never really got into Defender. But Defender was so popular that I remember the very first time some kid, scored, like 1 million points on it or something. It was it made the news, right? Because that's how popular Defender was back then. But Centipede, Asteroids, yeah, all of those. And Galaga, yeah. Yeah, Tempest was just a knockout. That was, yeah, Mystical Man, that's one that I never played, but I had a bunch of friends who really loved that. Big Doug. Cubert? Yeah. Paperboy. That's one from back then. Oh, hello, Bart. How are you? 1986. Commodore 116. Okay. I do remember seeing the first Commodore 64s in the stores. Well, I'm pretty sure Grace Jones is still around. I mean, she must still be. I hadn't seen anything indicating to me that she's not still alive. So, but I hope she's still among us. Oh. But I will say this: we have run the clock down on our second session, everyone. So I am going to go ahead and call it a night because got puppy dogs to take care of, and I got a couple chapters down in Ringworld, and as always had a wonderful time to visiting with all of you as always. Bart, I hope you can make it back semi-regularly. Good to have you. Good to have everybody. But yeah, we're going to call it a stream for the night. So, as always, keep an eye open for, the next two videos. Like I said, I'm going to be working on horror and fantasy for, over the weekend, and then some reviews, and then start trying to get some regular content. Finally, back at last. I'm ready to sit down and start recording and creating, and being really exciting. So thank you all so much, as always. And I love you guys. So, as I always say, please, until I see you next time, I will do it, Devlin. I will give them tons of scritches and cuddles and no smooches and all of that. So, until I see you next time, please stay safe and healthy and happy reading, okay? Good night.